Next up at UFC Vegas 76, we have the return of Kevin Lee taking on Rinat Fakhretdinov. Kevin Lee, 19-7 overall, 2-3 in his last 5, and he's coming off the non-UFC win over Diego Sanchez. He's taking on Rinat Fakhretdinov, 21-2, 5-0 in his last 5. He's coming off the absolute destruction of Brian Battle. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to Brian Battle, because if you remember last time Brian fought, I picked him to win based off of how well he did in the loss to Rinat. Dude did not stop moving. And that factors into me liking Rinat here as well. Meaning, Rinat took down Brian Battle a ton of times. An insane amount of times. 7 takedowns. He had 14 minutes of control. At no moment did Brian Battle rest, relax, let him do that. So Rinat got 7 takedowns, 14 minutes of control time, and worked every single one of those minutes. And I think that's going to be needed here because Kevin Lee is no pushover. Rinat, obviously we know, big-time wrestler. He does have some heavy hands on his feet. He is willing to trade, but he's just constantly pressuring forward, throwing big 1-2s, and then just grabbing legs. He'll bend over and pick him up. He'll shoot a takedown. Whatever he needs to do to get it to the ground, that's exactly what he's going to do. He's taking on Kevin Lee. You know what you may not know who this is. While doing the tape study I know, that's a boss, baby. While doing the tape study.
That's a boss, baby? Alec Baldwin?
Did you know that Kevin Lee is Keith Lee's brother? You know who Keith Lee is? The food guy on Tiki Taki?
What? I don't watch food TikToks all day, Angela. I'll be honest with you. I'm not on TikTok watching food all day.
Everybody knows who Kevin Lee is. He's got Keith Lee. He's got like 15 million. He's the one who screwed up Jersey Mike's because he did a promo and everybody ordered Jersey Mike's on the app and the whole country couldn't keep up with the amount of Jersey Mike's orders that came through. Anyway, this is his brother. I didn't know they were brothers. So cool. Kevin Lee. Yeah, that's an interesting fact.
I didn't know Rinat was brothers with Abe Lincoln.
Anybody in the live chat, let me know if you knew who that dude was. Come on. Yeah, even Perry doesn't even watch Tiki Taki.
Fuck you, Jackson King.
And he knew. Nobody know his as a food guy. He's from WWE Next. First of all, shut the fuck up, all right? Nobody knows the 15 million subscribers on his food
now
thing.
You're gonna get defensive because you just outed yourself as a fucking.
No, that was just a way. That was just a way to be like, oh, I know. He's like, shut the fuck up. He's also an MMA fighter. His dick's never been inside or anything. Anyway, Kevin Lee.
What?
That was his username. Kevin Lee is back in the UFC. He left. There was what was the issue? It was a tainted substance that didn't end up actually being tainted. It was something dumb like that.
I think he left because Dana said he was too good.
Oh, it was Adderall. He's prescribed Adderall, took the Adderall. I think he even disclosed it on the form, and they still were like, well, this is a banned substance.
I'm pretty sure that Dana knew that he was going to beat Khabib, and he didn't want that, so they kicked him out.
Could be. Anyway, he's a pretty well-rounded guy. He's got decent striking. You're going to see highlight after highlight of him dropping people, making stuff happen. Decent grappler as well. He's fought the who's who of the welterweight division over the last however many years. He has averaging about 4 takedowns per fight. He has 46 takedowns in his UFC career. He's beaten not everybody. He's fought everybody, but he's beaten some solid guys. Gregor Gillespie, that was a solid win. I don't know what the hell's up with Gregor, where he is at, but that was a solid win.
I don't think he's woken up yet, Angelo. Jesus Christ. That was one of the craziest knockouts ever. That
like a year and a half ago.
I think he's still there's somebody just sitting on a stool next to him in the octagon, just going to contact his family when he finally
Joe Rogan's
wakes up.
waiting for the interview still.
Yeah, fuck.
He beat Edson Barboza. He beat Michael Chiesa. Kevin Lee has a lot of solid wins, but I don't think this is going to be a win. I think this is Rinat all day. The line collapsing on itself is a popularity contest because while Kevin Lee is very, very good and deserves to be in the UFC, Rinat is just a different level. And we have seen people out-wrestle Kevin Lee, and that's just what Rinat, unless you are prepared to defend 150 takedowns, you're not going to win that fight. And I just think that's what happens. I think Rinat gets it done takedown after takedown after takedown, attempt after attempt after attempt, nonstop. So I like Rinat here. I know you're a Kevin Lee guy, so let's hear it.
Yeah, I was a Kevin Lee fan. I don't know why. I just remember when I started watching the UFC was when he was kind of really involved in the division, and it seemed like everyone hated Kevin Lee. But for whatever reason, I kind of liked his attitude. I think it's his confidence, right? I love people that are like literally that are actually confident fighters. And I believe that he, in his mind, he believes he is one of the top people in the entire world. And I have no issue in somebody that believes in themselves quite to that level. And he definitely has a high self-belief. So that's kind of why I'm a fan of his. And he's a very good fighter. I mean, he's good on the feet. He can wrestle. He can grapple. He's a more dangerous grappler. I think people give him credit for and what people realize. And he's going to be a danger on the feet for Rinat. But as you mentioned, Rinat really doesn't play around on the feet too much. I mean, he can if he needs to, but it's just to set up the shop. Yeah, just to set up the shots, and then he's just going to continue to chain wrestle. The fight that I was most interested in was the Rinat Andreas fight, because Andreas does have good wrestling, grappling background. I was curious to watch that fight and see, did he have any success? Or is there anything that he did that maybe Kevin Lee can do in that fight? And you saw him winning a couple scrambles against Rinat, reversing a couple positions. But when you watch Rinat in those positions, it wasn't like some of these guys, the grapplers, the second they turn to a nail, it's like, oh no. You almost saw that in the Islam Volk fight, right? Islam is so used to having success. The second he was on his back, he looked like a deer in headlights. With Rinat getting out scrambled by Andreas, it looked like just another rolling class for him. I mean, just another roll, just another grappling session, whatever it was. He didn't panic. He just kind of works through, keeps the wizard, keeps it strong, and then reverses back to position. And that's really dangerous for a guy like Kevin Lee, because I think Kevin Lee believes he can out-wrestle this guy. I think that Kevin Lee believes I can out-wrestle this guy. I mean, he's talked about he can beat Chimaev and everything. He thinks he can out-grapple this guy. I don't think he's going to be able to, and I think this fight is going to look a lot like the Kevin Lee RDA fight. RDA basically kind of just outworked him in that fight. Once it got to the late second round, Kevin Lee trying to get takedowns were almost non-existent. He kept getting reversed, and RDA takedowns were a lot easier as the fight went on. I think the same thing happens here. You might see Kevin Lee hanging around, stuffing a takedown, looking like he's winning a couple scrambles in the first round. Then he just kind of gasses, he slows down, and Rinat kind of takes over. I don't know if Rinat's going to get a finish. I got respect for Kevin Lee in that, right? But I think has all the opportunity in the world to kind of dominate this fight.
Yeah, I think I'm surprised. I thought you were going to pick Kevin Lee to win.
The fact that Kevin Lee is only 32 is like insane.
That blew my mind. I checked the stats twice. He's been around forever.
It seems like he would be like 36, 37. So he could still be improving. A lot of miles, though.
I actually like Kevin Lee as well. He was one of the OG guys to give Dana White a hard time. Didn't just take him at his word, would call him out publicly and give him a hard time. I like Kevin Lee. I'm glad
he was like,
UFC,
I can't remember when that submission was, but he was almost the champion of the world. He was beating the shit out of Tony Ferguson. And then Tony threw up that triangle and caught his ass.
Yeah, no, I think Rinat's just going to, like you said, outwork him, just out-wrestle. That's what he does. Anybody that's very impressed with the success of our AI, big harsh reminder, yes, the AI, it's available right now, Picks Doctor, it's under analysts. It went 11-1 last week. And one of the sketchiest cards we've had in a very long time, it picked every single underdog correct on that card. It picked every single fight except one correct on that card. It was the second in the world at picking fights correctly, according to Tapology. It does not have grappling statistics. It doesn't have it. And this is the type of fight where it probably should. So just keep that in mind if you're looking at the AI's picks and what it's done. It doesn't even know that grappling exists because it has never been given grappling stats. Not yet. That's why it's in beta. That's why we're saying very carefully.
Does it think that Rinat's 2-3 in his last 5?
Listen, I don't know.
Have you had one slide yet? Have you had one?
You know what's crazy about the errors on the graphics? I did these graphics live in Discord with people watching. You'd think somebody would have said something.
Nah, they're just looking at you, big boy.
Anyway, $8,800 in DraftKings. I think that's a bargain because I think he's going to get a ton of takedowns. A ton of takedowns. A ton.
He could get 5 or 6 in the first round because Kevin Lee's going to work. I mean, he's a dog. I mean, he's going to be working back to his feet, defending takedowns. I mean, Rinat could get 5 or 6 in the first round alone. Up and down, up and down, up and down. You know what I mean?
It'll be an interesting fight for sure. Lots of stuff at stake here, but I do think Rinat's going to get it done. As do you, if you want to unlock all the picks, the bets, the optimizer, even the beta version of the AI. WeWantPicks.com, just $10 a month. Click become a member. There was a question. Dixon said, why did it pick Ivana?
Attractiveness. It takes into account. It takes into account attractiveness. That's why if you ask who's going to win a fight between me and Angelo, it's fucking me, 99%, baby. On height, weight, length, abdominals, charisma.
It has biometrics, so it made that pick off of the biometrics because it looks at, okay, this is a female. According to female fights, height, weight, length, reach, all these things, blah, 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 blah. It's loaded. The gender's loaded into it.
Oh, what else can it do?
Everything will be loaded into it. It's going to be spitting out. We're going to get the wildest.
Can I load into it? Where you at, Pix Doctor? Let me plug you into my fleshlight real quick.
Oh, my God, dude. Can I load into it? Jesus Christ.